Good morning, guys. Second day here in Death Valley, and we found yesterday during our scouting we found some water down in the basin, so we kind of come back here. I am so unprepared. I don't have my water shoes on. Chris has her wellies, so my feet are wet and muddy, which is really nice. You can see behind me here, completely soft and muddy, and I had to take off my backpack but put it kind of in front of me and kind of get everything ready because I don't want to put my backpack down in the mud. But I have a beautiful scene here in front of me, a leading line. I got some reflection in this water kind of leading towards the Panamint Mountains, I believe they are. And we got some really nice color in the sky, no clouds, but this is just absolutely amazing. What a beautiful way to start today. And yeah, right now I got my 24-70 on, and hopefully gonna get some alpenglow here on the mountains in the background with a little bit of snow on it. Just a beautiful way to start the morning. Guys, well, I just finished up taking probably 4 or 5 different shots. What I did was I had my 24-70 on. I took a shot kind of with that leading line with the reflection. Then I took that off, put my long lens on, and kind of zoomed in a little bit. Took another shot, put the 24-70 back on, and then I took my little tripod here and I took the center column and turned it sideways. So I pulled it up, turned it sideways so I could get really low, and kind of moved up a little ways and took another reflection shot of almost all water and all reflection. I'm not sure how that's going to work because the mountains, the way they are, they're kind of unbalanced. They kind of start really low on one side and they kind of just stay high. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to like it. But then I came back and I put the long lens back on here at about 135 millimeters. Took a shot similar to the very first composition with the leading line, but I used it at about, and I just did it about 135 millimeters with a nice alpenglow. I think that's going to work out better just as the mountains appear, you know, larger in the frame and more of the subject. There's not a lot of sky because it's blue sky right now, not a lot of clouds, at least not the direction that I'm facing. Possibly I might have 3 to 4 shots just from this morning, which is always a good thing. Now you guys are going to see that right now, and then we're going to see how Chris is doing.
Well, good morning, everybody. Yesterday we did some location scouting here in Death Valley, and we found an area with just a tiny bit of water on the ground, and it makes for some beautiful reflections. So that's what we are trying to photograph this morning. And as you can see behind me, there's already a little bit of light here on the peaks. And right now I'm just waiting for a little bit more of that mountain range to be lit with alpenglow. I'm wearing my wellies, so I can just walk through the water without any issues. It's pretty muddy. And yeah, I have another composition set up right now. This one is with some of the mud cracks that start to form here in the foreground that kind of give some interest to that negative space here. And yeah, the light is coming in now, so I'm going to take a photo right now. So the panorama looks pretty good. I like the way the reflection brings a lot of symmetry to the photo. And then I think the other photo that could be something good, you guys will know before I do because you'll see the photo pretty soon, is the one where I put one of these patterns in all of this negative space in the foreground. And yeah, I like that very much. It looked like almost like a leaf folding to the left and to the right. And yeah, it's very, impressive that nature can do that, and it's just a natural thing that happens here.
All right, well, the plan for today now, we're done here. First is to get clean because yeah, my shoes and socks are soaking wet. I got mud everywhere, so we're gonna head back to the visitor center here, get a little cleaned up, and then we're on our way. Good morning, everybody. We are here in the beautiful salt flats of Death Valley, and we're setting up here, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about perspective, and more specifically, a compositional element called size progression. Now, what that means is you have these, anything, it could be shapes, it could be lines, it could be anything, but then as they move away from the bottom of the image or away from the viewer out towards the distance, things get smaller. It's a really nice tool to use, and the salt flats are a perfect example of how to use these. Now, a lot of times I think a lot of people want to, when they have these really cool designs and really cool patterns on the ground, they want to get super low and really zoom into these beautiful patterns and these beautiful textures. But the problem is you lose the midground. That midground starts to disappear as you get lower. So what I've done is I'm up almost at head high, maybe a little bit lower. And you can see that when I do that, when I start to raise up, that midground starts to appear and you get that size progression. It's more pronounced, it's a lot more dramatic, and to me, I think it looks better than getting down really low with these and you losing that really nice texture and that size progression in the midground. And then it took me a little while to get here and really search out these patterns because they're very chaotic. There's no real uniformity to them. So what I'm trying to do is find something that looks really nice leading off into this snowy peak in the background here. That's kind of what my subject is, and then using these patterns to kind of lead your eye right up to that peak. Now the sun's going to be coming up behind us here, so I'm going to get the alpenglow on these snowy peaks, which I think is going to look really nice. I'm definitely going to have to focus stack here. So now I have two spots, and luckily I have a second tripod. I have two tripods plus the gimbal that I'm talking onto right now. So I'll probably get another my tripod set up in my second spot, because trying to remember where your spot was in these chaotic patterns here is really tough. So I'm going to go right now, get set up on a second composition here to shoot that way, and hopefully I'll be ready. Alright guys, well I think the conditions are a little too harsh now. We had some amazing conditions though back here on Panamint Peak. We had some really nice alpenglow. Now I didn't give any consideration to this mountain kind of behind me here. One, there was no clouds or anything, but also this is where the sun was coming up, was right behind us, and we're kind of, it's like a big wall right here, so I didn't even look that way. But the conditions out here, we had some lenticular clouds that kind of really lit up with that pink and red. I also did a vertical panel here at a longer focal length to see if I can maybe bring those mountains in, because what happens when you use a wide angle lens, you have what's called the pincushion effect. It takes that background and it really shrinks it, and it makes that foreground really nice and big. So I tried to do a pano vertical, so maybe I can get something a little bit different. Maybe I can bring those mountains in a little bit. And Chris, how did you do?
Not so good. I'm a fan of patterns that repeat themselves, and areas that are very well balanced, and everything here is just, it's chaos. Not one of the shapes is similar than the one next to it. So I had a hard time. Maybe I have a photo, maybe not. You'll see.
All right guys, time for second breakfast here and heading back to the visitor center to refill up with some water.